वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणं तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तानं प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। अखण्डं सच्चिदानन्दम् अवाङ्मनसगोचरम्
अखण्डं सच्चिदानन्दम् अवाङ्मनसगोचरम्
आत्मानमखिलाधारम् आश्रयेऽभीष्टसिद्धये
आत्मानम् अखिलाधारम् आश्रयेऽभीष्टसिद्धये
अर्थतोऽप्यद्वयानन्दानतीतद्वैतभानतः
अर्थतोऽपि द्वयानन्दा अतीतद्वैतभानतः
गुरूणाराध्य वेदान्तसारं वक्ष्ये यथामति।
गुरुनाराध्य वेदान्तसारं वक्ष्ये यथामति।
अधुना अहं ब्रह्मास्मि इति
अथाधुना अहं ब्रह्मास्मि इति
अनुभववाक्यार्थः वर्ण्यते।
अनुभववाक्यार्थः वर्ण्यते।
एवम् आचार्येण अध्यारोप अपवाद पुरस्सरम्
अध्यारोप अपवाद पुरस्सरम्
तत्त्वं पदार्थौ
तत्त्वं पदार्थो
शोधयित्वा
शोधयित्वा
वाक्येन अखण्डार्थः
वाक्येन अखण्डार्थः
अवबोधिते
अवबोधिते
अधिकारिणः अहं नित्य शुद्ध बुद्ध मुक्त सत्य स्वभाव परमानंद अनंत अद्वयम् ब्रह्म
अहं नित्य शुद्ध बुद्ध मुक्त सत्य स्वभाव परमानंदानंद अनंत द्वयं ब्रह्मम्
ब्रह्म not ब्रह्म ब्रह्म अस्मि इति
ब्रह्म अस्मि इति
अखंडाकार आकारिता चित्तवृत्तिः
अखंडाकार
आकारिता चित्तवृत्तिः
आकारिता चित्तवृत्तिः
उदेति
उदेति
तत्त्वम् असि तत्त्वमसि वाक्यार्थस्य भागत्याः लक्षणया जीव ब्रह्मेश्वर ऐक्यं लक्षितम् इति दृष्टवन्तः। अत्र इदानीम् अधुना अहं ब्रह्मास्मि इति अनुभव वाक्यार्थः। We started this, we saw this also, but then we will discuss further. Aham Brahmasmi iti another Mahavakyam. There are many Mahavakyams, but 4 Mahavakyams from the 4 Veda. Yata ayamatma Brahma, aham Brahmasmi, tat tvamasi, prajnanam Brahma. Prajnanam Brahma from Rig Veda, Aitreya Upanishad. Ayamatma Brahma, Mandukya, Atharva Veda. Tat tvamasi, Samaveda, Chandogya Upanishad. Very famous tat tvamasi, where the Uddhalaka, the Acharya, the teacher, his son, in fact, I have the Sishya happens to be his son Shvetaketu. So he says this Mahavakya 9 times. Tat tvamasi iti. Then Aham Brahmasmi, which is the Brahadaranyaka Upanishad, Yajurveda. Iti Chaturushu Vedeshu ekam ekam vakyam ritva Chatvari Mahavakyani Prasiddhani Vakyani. So therefore this Mahavakya Aham Brahmasmi from the Brahadaranyaka, Brahat Aranyaka. That Vakya, the author says here, it is Anubhava Vakya. Tatatvam asi iti Acharyena Upadishtam Vakyam Tatatvam asi Upadesha Vakya. When the Acharya, the teacher says Tatatvam asi, the Shishya says Aham Brahma Asmi. Tatatvam asi Upadesha Vakya, Aham Brahma Asmi Anubhava Vakya. Aduna, Atha Aduna, Atha Aduna. Atha means after analyzing, after completing the Vichara, Shodhanam, Tatatvam asi, Padartha Shodhanam Kurutva. After Vicharan Kurutva, Tattvamasi Vakya Tasya. Vicharan Kurutva. वाक्यार्थः रसङ्गचे अतः लक्ष्यार्थः इति बाहत्याः लक्षणया तत्त्वमसि वाक्यस्य तात्पर्यनिर्णयं कृत्वा जीवब्रह्म ऐक्यमेव तात्पर्यः इति निर्णयित्वा विचारेण अधुना नौ अहं ब्रह्मास्मि इति महावाक्यस्य वर्ण्यते, अर्थः वर्ण्यते. That is being discussed. अहं ब्रह्मास्मि. The having understood the meaning of the vakya tattvam-asi, the student says from its anubhava, experience, aham brahma iti. So anubhava, this anubhava is what anubhava? Brahma anubhava. So now this anubhava, generally we see the translation of the word anubhava as experience. Experience. Experience involves experiencer, experience, the object of experience, and the experience, the triputi. Is it that sort of experience here, Brahmanubhava? If this is also is one of such experience, then this is not what the Upanishad talks about. Anubhava is not experience. If it is going to be experience, there will be continuous search for this Anubhava, Brahmanubhava. Because being experience, it is subject to come and go. If experience involves, the experiencer should be there. And the object of experience. These two things will not be present all the time. Experiencer also need not be present all the time because the experiencer, he goes to sleep also. The night he goes to sleep, or anytime he goes to sleep. That is say Anubhava then. That is the object. Experience is possible only when three things are there. There should be the experiencer, object of experience, and therefore that is subject object experience. Triputi. When any one of them is missing, there cannot be experience. If subject is not available, there is no experience. If object is not available, object also all the time not available. In fact, the nature of the object is coming and going. Agama payinaha. The same object which gives a particular experience at a given time will give another experience at another time. So all these factors are there. So therefore, if we translate Brahmanubhava, experience of Brahma, then we will start working for that Brahmanubhava, Brahma experience. It is not an experience like other experiences, what we have, experience of situation, experience of object, different objects are there. It is not an experience. In fact, Brahmanubhava is that experience which is there all the time. It cannot, that is the anything we experience implies Brahma, because everything is Brahma. There is nothing other than Brahma. Sarvam khalu idam Brahma. Everything is Ishvara. So that being so, Pratibodha Viditam Matam, Upanishad will be seen. Everything is Brahma. Therefore, every experience is Brahmanubhava only. There is no special Brahmanubhava. So therefore, what is this Anubhava? So Anubhava here, you have to translate Anubhava as, even if you say it translates intuitive experience. Sometimes it is translated intuitive. But all these translations have got a limitation because when we hear the word experience, naturally the Triputi, Veda, the threefold differences walk in. The subject will be there, object will be there, and the experience. Therefore, we don't use the word experience. We can use, if we understand the implication behind the word experience and what we really mean experience, we can use. In fact, we can experience Brahma. How do we experience Brahma? Brahma with Nama Rupa is experienced. This Jagat is Sagunam Brahma. Any object you take, it is Sagunam Brahma. Nama Rupa Sagitam Brahma. Therefore, our Anubhava, Pratyaha Anubhava is, everyday Pratidinam Anubhava is the experience. Nama Rupa Sagitam Brahma. But we don't know that is Brahma. Nama Rupa Sagitam Brahma. Sagunam Brahma is experienceable, subject to experience. Sagunam Brahma. If that is so, even your Shariram also Sagunam only. Because nothing is away from Brahma when we say, what about your Shariram? Shariram also Nama Rupa. It has got a name and it's a particular form. You experience your Sharira. Sharira, Indriyani, Jnanendriyani, Karmendriyani, Brahma Eva. Manaha, Antakaranam, Brahma Eva. You know what thoughts are going at this moment in your mind? Brahma, Namarupa, Sagitam Brahma. So that Brahma, that is, are we talking about that? Here, when we say Brahma, Anubhava, Brahma, Jnanam is Namarupa Rahitam Brahma. So if at all experience is the real experience, physical experience, that is Namarupa Sagitam Brahma. There is no possibility of Namarupa Rahitam Brahma. There is no possibility of experiencing Namarupa Rahitam Brahma. Experience like that experience cannot be like Namarupa Sagitam. Yata Namarupa Sagitam Brahma Anubhuyate, Tata Namarupa Rahitam Brahma na Anubhuyate. Why? Because you are Brahma. How can the subject be experienced? Subject is there, therefore the objects are experienced. And therefore there is experience. Namarupa is there, therefore Brahma. It is Namarupa Sagitam Brahma Anubhava. Here we are not talking about Namarupa Sagitam Brahma, Sagita Brahma Anubhava, Namarupa Sagita Brahma Anubhava. If that is so, it can be only in terms of knowledge. That can be only in terms of knowledge. Namarupa, when we say Namarupa, the name and form. The name and form causes a certain seeming division. Therefore, it is experienced. And we know Namarupa is Mithya. Namarupa is Mithya. That is why we say Sadeva Somidam Agre Asit Ekameva Advityam Advityam Brahma Eva Asti Tad Brahma Aham Asmiti. In that Brahma, there is no Veda, Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata, Vedaha Nasti. There is no Veda. Veda means subject object duality not there. When subject object duality is not there, where is the experience? Where is the experiencer? Where is the experience? And where is the experience? The Tripati Veda cannot exist. So if that is so, how can the experiencer experience be cognized? Experience are not there, experience also not there, objects of experience are not there. Therefore, all Tripati is knocked off. So, therefore, in the Advaita, where is the experience? Experience is not possible. Any experience requires duality, subject-object duality, Tripati, Veda. Therefore, Nama Rupa Rahita Brahmani, Nirguna Brahmani, Brahma Anubhavaha, not possible. Yatha Nama Rupa Sagitam Brahma Anubhuyate Tadvat. Therefore, if at all we say experience, which you experience, Anubhava, that is possible only when Brahma with Namarupa, that is Sagunam Brahma, Namarupa Sagitam Brahmani, Eva Anubhava is possible. Namarupa Rahitam Brahma, there is no Nama and Rupa. There is no division caused by this Mithya Namarupa. When division is not there, where there can be Anubhava, Brahma Anubhava. Therefore, How do we translate Anubhava? This is an important thing to be understood, because this is said after Shastra, Vichara, we have to work for experience. There is no working for experience. Unlike other fields, this is a different in the sense that which is ever experienced is discovered. In the case of other fields, you know it and then experience. But here it is known and then it is experienced and then it is known. It is, in the case of other fields, first the thing is known and then it is experienced. But here it is experienced and that it is known. So Brahma, it is, no, it is experienced. How you experience? Every experience is Brahma Anubhava only. That which is experienced all the time, in the presence of which all the experiences are possible, the knowledge of that is known after Vichara. So therefore it is different from the other fields of experience. The other fields of experience, any field if you take, that Anubhava implies knowledge. Knowledge first and then experience. But here experience first and then knowledge. So therefore, the experience begins there. There is a vichara of that. Then the knowledge of Brahma is revealed. That Brahma, therefore, it is not a separate experience, not even intuitive. Then what is that? Anubhava. Brahma Anubhava. Anu means paschat. Bhava means bhava. Something that happens in keeping with something else. Anu bhava, which happens. Following what happens here happens in keeping with the upadesha of the teacher. Therefore, it is bhava, as we saw, begins becoming. Here there is no really becoming. Here you discover, you know it. Therefore, anubhava. Anubhava means that which happens, that is knowledge which happens in keeping with the upadesha of the acharya. So therefore, it is jnanam. What jnanam? Is it paroksha jnanam or pratyaksha? It is nitya aparoksha jnanam. The clear understanding of what Brahma is. And Brahma is not separate from me, it is myself, aparoksha. Jnanam, jnanam asti, samyak jnanam, clear knowledge. And the knowledge of what? Knowledge of not something outside or something inside. There is no inside and outside for Brahma. Knowledge of myself, my swarupa, samyak jnanam, aparoksha jnanam. That's why aparoksha, anubhuti. Anubhuti means anubhava, experience. When say aparoksha, it is jnanam. Therefore, anubhuti is jnanam, knowledge. As the word anubhava, when we say, it implies always some kind of the connotation. That is, that which is experience comes and goes. So which means there is duality. The experiencer and the experience are the experience, the object of experience. So the sense of duality works in, duality means it is kshanik, it is momentary, because the experience cannot last long. Because when the experiencer and the experienced are not permanent, the experiencer also changes, and the experienced also changes. Therefore, the experience also will be momentary, it is not continuous. So, therefore, and there is, of course, a subject-object fusion, subject-object contact. So, therefore, all these things are implied in translating the word anubhava as experience. Therefore, since these limitations are naturally comes, therefore we avoid the word experience. So therefore the knowledge, conviction, knowing the swarupa of myself, jnanam, aparoksha jnanam, knowledge. So therefore, when the teacher says Tatu Tomasi, the student is able to see that, appreciate that. He has the immediate knowledge of the truth. So in the Chandogya, when the Udalaka says Tatu Tomasi, the Shvetaketu, the intelligent son, would be able to appreciate the Pratyekatma. Pratyekatma, which is different from Sharira Manasangata. It is not the body, they are not the sense organs, not the prana, not the mind, including Ahankara. Because Ahankara, what the Ahankara is closest, one loves Ahankara, it is closest to oneself. That is also not Atma. Why? Because all these are Anatma. Pratyekatma, being that is Atma, different from Anatma. Anatma is Jada. Anatma is Jada, Anatma subject to experience. Anatma is as the status of being seen, experienced. It is not self-existent, not self-effulgent. Atma is self-existent, therefore self-effulgent it is. Self-existent, therefore self-effulgent. Swayam bhati, asti, its astitvam doesn't depend on anything else. Asti and bhati, asti bhati priyam, satyam jnanam anantam. Satyam jnanam anantam, satya chita ananda. Asti bhati, asti therefore bhati. Atma alone asti ataha bhati. Asmi bhami, when it comes to individual, asmi bhami. Priyam, atma astu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Atma is, yes, we have seen Panchadashi. It is priyaha. What about jada? Jada is, anatma is jada. It is not swayam bhati. Astitvam also. Natu swatantrena tasya astitvam bhavati. Jada, anatma asti because of atma. Anatma enjoys astitvam, that astitvam belongs to atma. So atma bhati. Atma bhati. And anatma anubhati. Therefore, anatma is anubhati, shines after swayam na bhati. Anatma cannot exist of its own. That's why anatma, na atma. It is, that's why mithya. Anatma cannot be dismissed as non-existence. It is not, the nanj is not abhavarte nanj. Atma, na atma, anatma. Anatma, nanj is not abhavarte, not absence of anatma. Kinchit bhavaha asti. Again, as we discussed before, kinchit sad asadbhya manevachaniyam. That is why mithya. Mithyatam or anatmatvam of the sharira manasangata has to be clearly ascertained, and having ascertained, it is dismissed. Then neti neti prakriya, having dismissed, and what is left out? That which are negatable, negated. And that by which you negate, that you cannot negate it because it is you. The negator alone is there. The negator without any other karaka. When no karakas are negator also cannot have a karta, cannot be karta. It is atma. And atma doesn't negate. The negatorship also goes away. That alone is there. That is atma. That is myself. It doesn't enjoy astitvam because it borrows from something else. Swayam Jyoti, Swayam Bhati, it is Atma. That he recognizes, the student recognizes. Because the mind enjoys the sentiency, borrowed sentience. Therefore, it appears as though it's a conscious thing. But the mind which enjoys sentiency, that sentiency is not of the mind, doesn't belong to the mind. It is the Atma which is reflected in the Antakaranam. Antakaranam being a subtle medium, like a subtle mirror, which can reflect light. Similarly, here Antakaranam is reflect on in the Antakaranam Atma, Chaitanya is reflected. Therefore, Antakaranam is not, it's not self-illumined. It is illumined by Atma. Therefore, Antakaranam also Anubhati, Atma Bhati, Shariram Anubhati, Indriyani Anubhati, Antakaranam Anubhati, Tameva Bhantam Anubhati Sarvam, Tasya Bhasa Sarvamidam Vibhati iti. All these are therefore Jada. Iti clearly sees even the Agankara is so much loved by the person because it is myself. There is a false identification, yeah, with a with self. An image is created over which there is an abhimana, so that and therefore it is loved. That also anubhati, it is not swayambhati, it is mithya. That also jadam only. So that which is jada, it's not self-existent, it's not self-effulgent. They're all anubhati, shines after. So that which do not shine because of anything else, that which shines of its own account, that is Atma, that is Swaprakasha. Atma alone is Swaprakasha, everything else is Anubhati. Everything else enjoys the Prakasha, like the mind. The mind enjoys the illumination. It is not, it's of its own. It is because of Atma. Atma alone is Swaprakasha. Swaprakasha, Swayam Prakashyate. Swaprakasham. Swaprakasham, if we say, that is only for Atma. We say sun is Suryaha. Suryaha is Swayambhati, self-effulgent. That also relatively only, not absolutely. With regard to moon, we can say sun is self-effulgent. It's effulgent, self-effulgent. Because moon is Jada. Moon doesn't have illumination shining of its own. Moon borrows the light of the sun and it shines. Therefore, it shines after. Anubhati. The illumination of the moon is a borrowed illumination. The light of which the moon reflects is borrowed from the sun alone. So, therefore, with regard to the moon, sun is self-effulgent. But even the sun is not self-effulgent. The sun doesn't shine of itself. The sun shines because the light of our eyes illumines it. If there is no shine, if the individual, that eyes, Netrendriya, doesn't shine, there is no sun. It is the light of the eyes that illumines the sun. But if the eyes are not there, there is sun. Sun also cannot be recognized. Drishti, Srishti Vada. The thing it is there because it is seen. The light of the eye illumines that, therefore it is seen. So therefore, sun also is not self-effulgent. It is the Indriya, Netrendriya. But are the Netrendriya self-effulgent? It is Jada. The mind behind, because of the mind behind that, the Indriya, the Netrendriya, Chakshurku functions. But is the mind self-effulgent? No. That also enjoys borrowed sentiency, borrowed consciousness. It doesn't shine of its own. Then what is that which shines of itself? Do not enjoy borrowed Chetanatvam. That is Atma Pratyekatma. Therefore, that has to be self-shining. Suprakasham. Then what is Suprakasham? Swa itara aprakashyatve sati Svetara sarva prakashatvam saprakasham. That is the definition of saprakasham. Sva itara, svetara aprakashatve sati. Aprakashatve, that which is not illumined by other things. Sva itara, svetara sarva prakashatvam, that which illumines everything. That is saprakasha. Atma is not illumined by anything, but Atma illumines everything. That is saprakasha. Therefore, Atma is saprakasha. Swabhinna padarthan arthan prakashayati. Swabhinnaihi padarthaihi na prakashyate. Therefore, saprakasha, Atma, pratyekatma. In fact, that alone illumines the mind also. Therefore, only we recognize objects. The ahankara also. Ahankara also is a thought. It's also a vritti. Aham kritihi, aham vrittihi. It is a sense of individuality. It is a false. It's not real. It is a sense of the notion of a created image. Ahankaraha. If you really encourage ahankara, it falls apart. That is ahankara minus chaitanya. So ahankaraha, that also is not self-effulgent. Minus atma, that is ahankara. It's all, if you see, what is there is only atma, Brahma alone. The witnesser who cannot be witnessed. And that alone is sakshi. Sakshi, atma, eva asti, asmi, bami, sadabami. That, how do you communicate? That's what the teacher says, tatu tum asi. And the teacher says, where the tatu, when it is said, Ishvaraha, Ishvara not with the upadhi, tum also not with the upadhi, because tatu and tum when they are equated. And tum referring to you, no means this, the jiva, the sharira manasangata. Since it is equated with the tum, therefore sharira manasangata, upadhis are dismissed. They are, because they are jada. And that similarly at the total, it is Chaitanyam, Brahma. So Brahma, the Paramatma, the Param, which is without any limitation, that Param, Deshakala Vastu, Vastubihi, Aparichinnam Chaitanyam, Tat, Paramatma is Tvam. The Pratyekatma. Pratyekatma we use because from the standpoint of Sharira Manasangata, it is Pratyeka. There is no Pratyeka, there is no Para. It is Atma eva. So that Atma, which is Akhandaha, Satchit, Anandaha, Ekarasaha. So having recognized this fact, when the teacher says Tatutam Asi, the student will helplessly, once he recognizes, he will say Aham Brahmasmi. That limitlessness is myself. That limitlessness, the very meaning of the word limitlessness, the Jyoti, Saprakashaha, self-existing, Param, Anandaha, Akhandaha. So it is myself. So Aham Purnaha iti, not lacking anything, complete, cannot be fulfilled by anything. It is Sada Purnaha. So knowing oneself as complete. Naturally, the student will say Aham Brahma. Brahma is Bhragat Tamatvat Brahma, that which is full, that which is whole. Always it is. Whole means when it is not, it is always. So that Purnaha Aham, that is the nature. That is the nature. That is a Swarupa. That is a Swarupa. Brahma is full. That is Swarupa. The Purnam Brahma. That Apurnatam is Adhyaropitam. That Adhyaropita is negated. And when the what is to be negated is negated, then what is there is revealed. And the student is aware of this. He recognizes the fact when the teacher says Tatutamasi, Upadesha Vakya now becomes Anubha Vakya of the Shishya. Therefore, Anubha Vakya Artaha, varunete iti. It is anubhava. Anubhava means knowledge. Knowledge also. Any knowledge. Knowledge happens in the form of vritti, only thought. Knowledge happens in the antakaranam, in the mind, in the form of thought only. Any knowledge. Paravidya va, aparavidya va. So knowledge has to be in the form of vritti, chitta vritti, mano vritti. Antakarane, antakarana vritti. The thought. Knowledge, understanding in the form of thought only. Therefore, jnana vritti. So chitta vritti hi udayati. Later he says, vritti, the next line phrase. Chitta vritti. Here, the teacher says, the jnanam happens, spuranam, that form of vritti, jnana vritti, that Brahma, which is aparoksha Brahma, agamasmi, iti, in the antakaranam, the knowledge happens. The knowledge removes all the opposite knowledge, ajnana vritti. So therefore, agam Brahma asmi iti, that vritti, that is not jnana vritti, negates ajnana vritti, which is a cause for false identification. So that is removed. Once jnanam happens, vritti happens, it cannot go. Why? Because jnanam and ajnanam are of opposite nature. When light is there, darkness cannot be. And when the light comes, the light cannot go. In the case of jnanam, once then it is understood, then it cannot go also. Otherwise, problem. If it goes, then again you have to work for jnanam. That is not the case. So jnanam, once it is, even the person, the jnani, if he gets into a coma, the jnanam will be the jnanam, whether it is explicitly seen in the vyavahara or not, but jnanam is there if there is no punarjana, because everything is mithya. What koma? Koma is also mithya. Everything is mithya. That is when it is having gained, it is not lost. It cannot be. And that in the form of vritti, and that knowledge, that is what is aparoksha jnanam, and that is what is anubhava iti. That is the meaning of the word anubhava. And in the next passage, the Acharya says, Evam Acharyena Adhyaropa Apavada Prasaram. Therefore, we can understand how important is the prakriya. Adhyaropa Apavada Prakriya. Adhyaropa Apavada Purasaram Tattvam Padartau Shodayitva Shodanam Krutva Shodayitva, having analyzed, clarified Padartaha, the meaning of the Padam, Tat and Tvam, by Bhagatyaha Lakshana, Kandartaha Avabodhite. When the Akandartha is Avabodhite, Avabodhanam, Jnanam, Aproksha Jnanam. Jnanam is Avabodhitam, understood, understanding. So, therefore, Brahmanubhava is understanding. When the teacher says the division between Jiva and Brahma, the seeker and the sought, the knower and the known is false. False means how do you falsify it? In terms of your understanding. Atma, which is Akhanda, which is non-dual, is revealed. So Akhanda, when we say, where is the division? Division of the seeker and the sought, knower and the known, Jiva and Brahma, not there. That's Akhanda. Jiva is there, Brahma, Jivatma is there, Paramatma is there, then there cannot be Akhanda. It's Khanda. They are resolved. They are falsified. How it is falsified? Falsified in the buddhi, understanding. Therefore, avabodhanam, therefore, jnanam, aparoksha. Therefore, it is avabodhite, understanding. Therefore, it is not a new experience. Understanding means understanding the mind and the antakaram. That happens only in the form of thought, vritti. Therefore, chitta vrittihi udeti. Akanda akarita. Aham brahmaspiti akandakara akarita. Chitta vrittihi udeti. Chitta vritti. The thoughts. Udeti in the antakaranam. Understanding takes place in the mind, the form of a thought only. So that understanding, it is not an experience, not experience. So therefore, happens to whom? Adhikarinaha. Important word, adhikari. Adhikari is sadhana chatushtaya sampannaha, the one who is endowed with the fourfold qualifications. The mind of the student is ready and is ready to receive the knowledge. Therefore, since he is free from raga dvesha and he has got itanta nirmala swanta karanam, all those things we have seen before. In the beginning itself, the adhikari is defined. When the adhikaritvam is there, strong desire for knowledge, mumukshutvam, then there is chittavritti. When the teacher unfolds shastram, then there is a chittavritti that reveals the nature of the atma self. So chittavritti is a thought modification. The thought modification happens when we cognize something. A thought modification happens. Knowledge of a thing, how does it happen? The cognition of a thing, of an object, happens when there is a modification of the thought. The vritti will undergo change. If not, the same vritti will be there. The mind is nothing but a flow of vritti, the thoughts. So for an knowledge, for an object knowledge, the mind accordingly undergoes some change. Vritti happens. So therefore, the knowledge is a form of vritti only. Corresponding thought, corresponding to the object, thought occurs in the mind, and therefore the knowledge. So for knowledge to happen, therefore, there should be a vritti corresponding to the object. And that is very obvious when we operate our indriyani, backed up by the mind. The indriya functions, such as indriya, sense organs, objectify sense objects. The vritti, the mind undergoes change in keeping with this sense object. And when that is illumined by the intervened in the antakaranam, reflected in the antakaranam, knowledge happens. So any knowledge, tree knowledge, the tree is cognized in the mind. How? When there is, when the mind objectifies the object, and it is when it is reflected in the antakaranam, in the mind, when it is reflected, the object is objectified with the help of sense organ by the mind. And the moment the sense organ, the moment the mind reaches the sense organ through the moment the mind reaches sense object through the sense organ, the mind assumes the form of the object of perception, and that is reflected in the antakaranam, and the corresponding knowledge happens. Chitta vritti, we have seen this. Chitta, it is vyapti. Chitta vritti and pala vyapti. So there is an object, the mind envelops the object, and it is reflected in the antakaranam. So the two-step process, for any cognition. Whereas here, there is no object. The object, where is the object here? It is tattvam, it is you. Therefore, there is no palavyapti. Therefore, the teaching knocks off the ajnanam, and there is no palavyapti. If it is palavyapti, then this Brahma also become one more anubhava, one more object. Therefore, Brahma anubhava is possible. But it is not, it is you. So there is no palavyapti. When you see a tree, the mind, through the sense organs, envelops the tree, and it is reflected in the antakaranam. So two-step process. First, the mind has to envelop the object And second, it is reflected in the antakaranam. Vritti vyapti, phala vyapti, we say technically. Vritti vyapti, vritti envelops the object in front, and it is reflected in the antakaranam, phala vyapti. In the case of knowledge, tattvatamasi, when the Acharya says, that is the object. There is no object here. Therefore, there is no phala vyapti. If phala vyapti is there, so yatra yatra phala vyapti. Therefore, we can say where phala vyapti is there, then their experience has to be object experience. The triputi veda will be there, duality will be there. But here there is no phala vyapti. Object is, who is the object? I am the subject, I am the object. Therefore, there is no phala vyapti, there is only vritti vyapti. The vritti, the knowledge vritti, dismisses the ajnana vritti. Jnana vritti dismisses the ajnana vritti. Therefore, only there is no anubhava like the object anubhava. That is, Brahma anubhava is, no, we don't translate as experience. If you can translate as experience, provided if you understand, there is no phala vyapti. Without phala vyapti, there is experience. It means it is you, self-experience, self-realization, they say. How the self can be realized. It is, means there is no phala vyapti, self-realization is self-understanding. So that is vyapti. Therefore, the knowledge corresponding to the object in the form of thought happens in the mind. And that thought, the thought form which takes in the mind, it is when it is Brahma, that is called Brahmakara Vritti. The thought, the form of Brahma, which reveals the truth that Aham Brahma iti. Jnana, that is called Jnana Vritti. The Jnana Vritti is unlike the other Vritti. Other Vrittis are Khanda Vritti. In any object experience, there is an appreciation of the knower and the known. The Triputi Veda will be the knowledge, knower, and the known. The knower is different from the known, and therefore there is experience of the known. But here, Brahma, which is to be known, it is not different from you. Therefore, there is no khanda, there is no division. That is why it's called akanda akara vritti. The division is not there. Akanda akara vritti, in fact, it eliminates the division. Division what? Division between the knower and the known. Therefore, the knower and the known are one. So, therefore, it is revealed that Upadesha, when it is strikes the form of knowledge, the vritti happens in your mind. When you cognize that, that reveals the truth, that reveals the self. For whom adhikarinaha, sadhana chatushtaya, sampannaha, and Shishya, he gained the knowledge, avabodhite adhikarinaha, tadvitti pradipatena, having gone to the teacher, and he has done the necessary preparation, undergone necessary training, having done karma yoga for chitta antakarna shuddhi, chitta shuddhi, and chitta nishchalim by upasana, then approaching the teacher, having received upadesha, studied, and प-अपव the purasaram, the first thing evam acharyena upadishtam, mahavakyam, following the prakriya, प-अपव the purasaram. Adhyaropa is naturally done. So without being taught, this adhyaropa is there. Therefore, adhyaropa followed by apavada, negated. So negating, then the teacher reveals that you are Brahma iti to the adhikarinaha. To the adhikarinaha. And the adhikarinaha then he says, what does he do? Tattvam padartham shodagitva, having done inquiry of about tat and tvam, Vachyata nasangate lakshataha iti. Vachyartaha katam nasangate. Vachyartha, if you take, there is different. There are differences between Jivatma and Paramatma. The differences are not real differences, they are superficial differences. And therefore, we cannot take Vakyartha, Lakshyartha, because Shruti being a Pramana, when it reveals, therefore the differences have to be superficial, not real. Therefore, the differences have to be understood as superficial. Therefore, the Jivatma, Paramatmanaha, the Vedaha, which is, in the beginning it is Adhyaropita, and later it is Apavada, it is removed. Therefore, it has to be one. Therefore, essential oneness between Jivatma and Paramatma is revealed by the Mahavakya, Jiva Brahmaika Vakyam, Akandartha Bodhaka Vakyam. Therefore, what is there is Brahma Eva, that Brahma is myself which is obtained in the Shariram. The Sharira cannot contain, cannot limit that, because it is Purnam. Therefore, Purnatvat, therefore, Sharira Manasangata, this cannot confine Brahma, and therefore is not available for the experience of Brahma. If it is available, then it is Nama Rupa Sagitam. Therefore, any experience we come across, it is of the Nama Rupa. Brahma is not Nama Rupa. Nama Rupa, when we say it is Parichinna, it is limited. Nama of a thing, and it has got a form. Therefore, Kala Paricheda, Vastu Paricheda, Desha Paricheda comes. But when we say Brahma, which is Purnam, which is total, then where is Nama Rupa? Therefore, it has to be Akanda. Akanda meaning that doesn't have any division. Total, non-difference. Therefore, Jiva Brahma, Akanda means there is complete non-difference. Then only Akanda is. When division is there, then we cannot say Akanda. Division with Namarupa, that is Adhyaropita. Apavada is done, therefore the divisions are removed. Therefore Akanda. Akandartaha, indivisible, indivisibility, it is indivisible. Therefore Ekam Brahma Eva, which appears to be many because of Ajnanam, because of Adhyaropa. So Adhyaropa, then Apavada is done, negated. Therefore the student discovers that Akanda Brahma. Akanda Brahma is not something outside. When we say Akanda Brahma, it is me, Aham, who is obtained in the Shariram. Therefore, Akhandam Brahma, when he says, there is complete appreciation of the non-difference, essential non-difference. Why we use our essential? Because when the person says, the person has to say with the Upadhi, he has to say through words, he has to use his mouth, Upadhi he has to use. So one may think he is talking about the Upadhi, not the Upadhi. Upadhi is Mithya. Therefore, essential, the word is important. Essential non-difference of me and Brahma, Aham Brahma. Therefore, Akandartha. That Akandartha, Bodhaka Vakyam, Mahavakyam, Avabodhite, Sati. The Adhikarinaha, the Adhikari, when taught to the Adhikari, Avabodhite, then Adhikari, who is Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna, Adhikarinaha, Sati Saptami, it is taught. Then Chittavrittihi, Akanda Akarita Chittavrittihi. There is no division, it is the essential non-difference, that is Akanda, and that is Akarita Chittavrittihi. Chittavrittihi, they thought, the knowledge happens. Knowledge happens in the Antakaranam. So that is Jnanam, Brahma Jnanam iti. Aham Brahmasmi. So he says that the Adhikari who says, Aham Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Satya Paramananda Satya Swabhava Paramananda Ananta Advayam Brahma iti. So Aham that Brahma, I am that Brahma. Now these words have to be understood. Akanda Kara Vritti, that is the mind. as I told, that a vritti which occurring in the mind corresponding to the object. Here, the object is, suppose we say object is Brahma. It is you, not being an object. There is no kanda, akhanda, essential non-difference between Jiva and Brahma. Therefore, it is akhanda, and that is a vritti, akhandakara vritti. Therefore, akhandakara vritti, the knowledge of Jiva Brahma Aikyam. The mind has, since the mind has to assume the form of the vritti, the mind will be akhandakara vritti. The mind will be assuming akhandakara vritti. It means that the vritti, thought of the knowledge of Brahma, which is akhanda. So akhanda, that is akhandakara vritti. The buddhi, it reveals the Atma as Chaitanyam, as awareness. The awareness which is free from limitation. No khanda, no limitation. It is Brahma, akhanda. Jiva and Brahma, that Jiva and Parama, Jivatma, Paramatma, they are seemingly different. There is no difference. Therefore, the essential non-difference between the two is in the form of the vritti, the knowledge happens in the antakaranam. Therefore, antakaranam will assume this vritti, akhandakara vritti. That is knowledge. So when the student understands this Padesha, Tattva-tamasi, when uttered by the teacher, then he has to say, Aham Brahmasmi only. What will it say? That is what self-realization it is, self-knowledge. Realization, self-experience, self-realization, we can use now, provided we understand what it really means. Realize what it means, and we can use the word self-realization. It is self-knowledge, knowledge of the self without division. The self is Brahma. And that is, itself being knowledge. That knowledge has to be in the form of thought. That occurs only in the mind. Therefore, mind assumes the vritti rupam, akhandakara vritti. Therefore, akhanda akarita chitta vrittihi udeti. Kada udeti, when the teaches, gives upadesha vakyam. This adhikarinaha, he says, and having listened to the words of the teacher, having understood the tattvam, then he says, Aham Brahma Asmi iti. And he says, Nitya Shuddha. Each word is important. It's a beautiful expression. Shankaracharya in this Bhashya uses these words. Aham is not here. Upadhi Sagita Aham. Aham is Shuddha Aham, it is Brahma. Aham Brahma Asmiti. So Brahma. And the first word is Nitya. The Nitya can be connected to each, or Nitya can be taken separately also. Nitya Shuddha, Nitya Buddha, Nitya Mukta, and it is Satya, it is Nityananda, Paramananda, Ananta, Advaya. Nitya can be connected to many words in the phrase. Nitya, what is Nitya? That which is not subject to time is Nitya. So the Kala is valid only when there is duality. Here Akhanda, where is division? There is no division. There is no Jivatma, Paramatma, Bheda. There is no knower, known. The Jnatra Jnaya Bhedaha Nasti. Therefore, no Kala. The Kala itself is swallowed in this knowledge, in the Brahma. Therefore, Nityaha, Aham Nityaha. So Nityaha means that when you cannot ask, there's no meaning. When? What is when? Eternal. What is eternal? Eternal also is just a word. Eternal is a relative word. When something is limited in terms of time, in opposite to that, we use the word eternal. Eternal means it implies there is something, there's something which is limited in terms of time. Therefore, we say eternal, because we have the orientation that everything is subject to time. Therefore, we have to say Nityaha, meaning it is not subject to time. It is really inconceivable. That is Brahman. It is myself. It is myself. When it is all the way, it is all the time. Which again we have to use the word time all the time. All the time means what time? Always. Where is always? Always also is it's a relative word. Where is always? Where is time? There is no Vartamana, there is no Bhuta, there is no Bhavishya. It is Nitya, that alone, therefore Nitya. It is about time. The question of time doesn't arise itself, doesn't arise at all. In fact, it is Atma in which that time exists. The time also is a dependent thing. Time is not eternal. Time is dependent. You can say eternal and all, it's all applicable only to time, not to Brahma. So Brahma is Nitya, means it is Nitya. We cannot translate it as anything, any other word, as any other the equivalent. Eternal also has got some implication. It is Nityaha. That is Nitya has to be you. It is Nityaha, therefore it is Akandaha. It is Shuddhaha. Because it is Nityaha, it has to be Shuddhaha. What else could be? It is only one thing, Akhandaha. There is no division. Therefore, there are no two things. There is no subject object, never known. Experiencer experienced. Therefore, it is Shuddhaha, that is in the form of knowledge, pure awareness. Where is Ajnanam? All these, the Mala. Ajnanam is the Vastamalam, because of which there is samsara. That is gone. That is not there. When Ajnanam, that is the root, is destroyed. What happens to all the karya? Ajnana, because of Ajnana, there is Adhyasa. Because of Adhyasa, there is Kartrutvam, Kartrutvat, Karma, Karma Pala, Papa Punya, Janma, Punajanma. It is samsara. The root is cut. The root is not the avidya is not there. In fact, avidya also has its ashraya in this Nitya Brahma. So when you know aham nityaha shuddhaha, that is avidya. Avidya, ahankara, mamakara, everything they stem from this ajnana. Completely they are gone. So Atma, when you say aham Brahma, it is knowledge, pure knowledge, and that is shuddhaha. We have to use the word ever shuddhaha, nitya shuddhaha. What is ever shuddhaha? Again, ever. Because we have the conception of something pure relatively, therefore we have to say which is ever pure. It is pure, means pure. It is nityaha is nityaha. And it is buddhaha. Always it is self-emergent, self-shining. Doesn't borrow sentiency from it is chetana, it is shining, self-shining, bhati. Asti, 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 iti, sarvatra bhati. That asti, that asmi, that Brahma, aham asmi, when I say asmi, it becomes asmi. Therefore, it is always enlightened. Therefore, enlightening is not a process, doesn't happen at a particular time. As Swamiji says, it is not an event. So, enlightened, Atma is ever enlightened. You don't enlighten the Atma. Ajnana nivritti is alone is self-enlightenment. What is self and self need not be enlightened. He is always enlightened. It is self-effulgent, self-shining. And what is self-enlightenment? All these words have got limitation, but we use it to understand. To understand that, yeah, our ajnanam. To understand our jnanam, therefore, before jnanam, what we thought ourselves to be, all these are negated by these words. Previously, I thought aham anityaha. Now it is nityaha. Aham ashuddhaha, therefore I have to become pure. No, there is no distillation process required. I am ever shuddhaha. Buddhaha, something I have to gain so that I become Buddhaha. No, it is Atma as Atma aham, always enlightened, always in the form of pure awareness, knowledge. Therefore, only we say Kasmina Bhagava Vijnate Sarvamidam Vijnatam Bhavati iti when Shanaka asked. Atma, Kasmina Bhagavate Vijnate, Atmani Vijnate, Sarvam Vijnatam, because Sarvam Brahma Aham Atma. Therefore, Atma Jnanena Sabhajnanam. Atma Jnanam it is not one more knowledge. It is knowledge of myself, and it is always, it is there only the Ajnana Nivritti reveals the Swarupa of myself, Atma. Therefore, it is shining without any effort, effortlessly shining. self-shining, self-emergent Buddha iti. It is surprising how this Buddha becomes Abuddha, Bandha. That is why Maya, Agatita Gatana, Patiyasi Maya. And Muktaha, Muktaha is when becomes free. The becoming, there is no becoming free at all. It is ever free. That is ever free, becoming free is paradoxical. That which is ever free, how can it become free? So that ever free is not understood, therefore only struggling to become free. Atma being free always, not confined by the upadhi, then what is freedom? That is the limitation caused by the upadhi is or mithya, understood, upadhi being mithya, therefore limitations are also mithya. So therefore that which are without any limitations, the limitations which are imposed by the Sharya Manasangata, all these are mithya, they all stem from ajnanam. So therefore Atma is ever muktaha eva. The limitations imposed by the Sharya Manasangata, Ahankara with limitation only. Sharira with limitation. Sharira will enjoy its dharma. Sharira. Muktaha means not Shariram will become Mukta. Shariram subject to all the Shad Vikara and being Anatma. Therefore, similarly, being Anatma, therefore made of Bhautika, Pancha Bhautikam, the Sharya Manasangata, and Ahankara, which is wrong identification with oneself, this wrong self-image, Ahankara. All these are fraught with limitations. So, when the limitations are understood to be false, then ever Muktaha Atma is known to be myself. That's what Muktaha is. Therefore, Atma is ever Muktaha. Atma is ever free, and that's why discovering myself to be free, Muktaha iti. Satya Swabhava, that is the truth. That cannot be negated. Everything else is Mithya. Everything else is negated in the wake of this Jnanam, this Atma, and Atma cannot be negated. So it is that which is unnegatable. So by the process of negating, Adhyaropa Apavadena, Apavada we negate. We have seen step-by-step negation done. After negating that which cannot be negated, the negator cannot be negated. And the negator is no more karta also. The negatorship also is gone. Therefore, it is what remains is Atma, which is Satya Swabhavaha it is. And it is Paramanandaha. Ananda, the word is used. Ananda, we have Vishyananda, other types of Ananda, but this Ananda is Swarupananda. It is, this Ananda is not produced, in time, not produced by action. Any Ananda, if you take in the Jagat, in the world, they are produced in time by karma. Karma produces Ananda. First, karma produces Punya Papa. The Punya Papa brings the situation which are conducive for Ananda Anubhava. In Ananda, of course, there is subject, object, and Ananda. But this Ananda, that doesn't require any Karaka. Minus Karaka. There is no Karaka, and it is therefore it has to be Swarupa. Therefore, it has to be Swarupa of Atma. Here the Ananda is not derived, that Ananda, the experience, here also the experience. What is experience? It is knowledge. That is, that Ananda here, understanding Ananta is Ananda. In fact, Paramananda, Parama is that most exalted, not comparable. Parama Ananda. What could be Paramananda? If it is Paramananda, there must be other Ananda. To show the Vilakshana of Ananda from other Ananda, Vilakshana from Vishyananda, etc. The word Paramananda is used. Because people are generally interested in Ananda, happiness. So when we say Paramananda, therefore it must be out of the world. Out of the world is, it's not it's Sargaloka Ananda or any other Ananda. It is Atmananda, it is the nature of Atma. Atmanastu Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati. Therefore it is Swabhavika. It is oneself, it is natural. Love for Atma. and there is no other Ananda, no other love comparable to this. Everybody loves. We have seen Panchadashi, Parapremas Padamiti. Everything is loved for the sake of Atma. Therefore, Atma must be Paramananda. That is the source of the happiness. Happiness is Paramananda. That is seeking that happiness only. The objects are loved in the world. Atmanastu kama eva sarvam priyam bhavati. Therefore, Atma must be nature of Ananda. And it is Anantaha. Anandaha, Anantaha. Anantatvat Anandaha. Limited, free from limitation, limitless, Purnamiti. Not subject to limitation. Deshakala vastu aparichinnam, not bound. A thing can be bound only in terms of time or space or another object. Brahma doesn't have, Atma doesn't have any such limitation. Therefore, Brahma Atma is Anantaha iti. Therefore, Anantaha, therefore it has to be Advayam. Dvaya, Ragitam, Dvaya cannot, Dvaitam cannot be there. Dvaitadhi Bhayam Bhavati. When there is separation, when there is alienation, then there is fear. Fear of second thing. Here there is no division. Therefore, Advayam iti. That Advayam, that Brahma, Agam Asmi iti, having understood Akandakara Chittavrittihi Udeti iti, the Shishya says. So Akandakara Chittavrittihi Udeti. Chittavrittihi Putra Udeti Antakarne. That is knowledge. So when the teacher says the student understands, this is what Brahmanubhava is. So if you understand Brahmanubhava in this way, then Brahmanubhava, the word can be used. They always use the word knowledge. You can use the word Brahmanubhava, Aprokshanubhuti, Anubhuti. This is what Anubhuti, Anubhuti of the Shishya. And we can use the word experience also. Understanding, we can use the word experience. We know here the experience is not the contact of one thing with another thing. There is no physical experience. There is no mental experience. Experience is knowledge. So therefore, Brahma Anubhutihi Advayam Brahma Agamasmiti Chittavrittihi Udeti. Udeti arises. Jnanavrittihi Udeti. Chittavritti, that Jnanam arises in the mind of the student, and the teacher unfolds the teaching, and he understands, he recognizes that, and becomes free. Next passage you will see in the next class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavadah.
धन्यवाद
धन्यवाद
धन्यवाद